Okay, so video number 2 here. Um, as I begin this process, I think it's important to share where I'm coming from with this because, as I said, this is a big step. Feels crazy, feels a little scary. And I'm sure there are plenty of you out there who've had the same thoughts, and this is a scary idea for. So I want to just kind of share who I am, what I've come out of. Maybe it will help someone else to think about where they are, to decide if they need to take a big step themselves, if they need to stay where they are, which is great too. So I have just recently had my second child. So she is 6 months old right now. So I have a 6-month-old and a 3-year-old. So I'm a mom of 2 young children. I am actually older than you might think. So I am 39. I know we aren't supposed to share our age, right? But I think it's important to kind of give you some context that I have had a little bit of life that I've lived, especially when usually I get told that I look younger than the age I actually am. So with that, I have been on a journey in life. I have gone and gotten bachelor's degree. I've gotten 2 bachelor's degrees because I still wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So my first one was in social work. Then I got a second one in fashion design. I have never actually worked as a social worker. I have never actually worked as a fashion designer. And I have used every skill from both of those programs in just about everything I've done in life. So I'd say the education that I've had has been valuable in getting to me to where I am today. And I'm thankful for the opportunities I've had. So I did that. And I met my husband, over 10 years. We've been married for a little over 10 years. So I met him a while back. And when I met him, I was kind of transitioning past my fashion design degree, trying to figure out what I'm doing. By the way, fashion design, the jobs for that are very much you're building your own business, or you're going and being a technical designer, you're something like that. And where I was, there wasn't a lot of what felt right for me as a job where I was, and I wasn't ready to take the big plunge and move somewhere crazy like New York or California or wherever that might be. And so I was working doing alterations for David's Bridal, just trying to figure out life, figuring out what I was doing. And in the process, I met my husband, and he had been doing logistics for a while. He had been in the military for 7 years and gotten out. And in our process of getting to know each other and then, dating and then eventually getting married, he had not been able to finish his bachelor's degree because he was in the military when he was trying to do it. He was deployed a lot of things like that. So one of his goals was to finish that. So we started a journey together where we basically focused on what he was wanting to do. And I supported him in that process. And as we did that, we moved to a couple places. I taught high school for a couple of years, family and consumer sciences classes. We moved so we finished his bachelor's degree online. We moved so he can do his master's degree. And while he did that, I worked at the college that he was doing it at. And then we moved so he could have a job. And I ended up working retail. I worked for Anthropologie stores, which was really cool. So really good customer service experience. I also eventually got to be a display artist for Anthropologie stores. So that was a really neat thing that I had the opportunity to do. And I honestly, that was probably one of the jobs I've loved the most out of everything I've done, because I got to be organized and creative and detail oriented and so many different things. And while I was doing that and he was kind of starting to work in what he was trying to do, he decided to add on a certification. So long story short, he has become a recreation therapist, and that is such an amazing career for him, and he is so good at it, and I'm so proud of him with the process. And the reality is that I have worked all these other jobs, some that I loved, some that were okay, but I chose jobs based on I need to support us in the process. And so now he has been able to establish himself as a recreation therapist, and we are a little more settled. And so recently, I also do theater. I was involved in a show, and one of the things that I kept finding myself thinking or about to say or even saying was something to the effect of, well, I love acting and I love being on stage. Look, my secret dream would be to play Belle on Broadway. Now, the reality is that's not going to happen at this point. But the thing behind that is that I probably could have gone and done any number of things, gone and tried acting, tried it, who knows, maybe even gotten jobs. But what was holding me back was that I was not brave enough. Honestly, I have always been much better at doing what's expected of me than at stepping outside of the box and being brave and taking a risk on something. I've always gone for the sure thing. And I felt myself multiple times coming up with that thought of I just wasn't brave enough. And that has been sticking with me. On top of that, I have a 6-month-old, so I had my child, I had maternity leave. I enjoyed some of my time with her. Now, I'm glad my kids get to go to daycare. I think that's great for them. I am not the mom who wants my kids at my feet all day, every day. I need my kids to be part of a community. And I do enjoy spending time with her. And now going to work 40 hours a week, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, means that we come home in the evenings, and my work that I've done during the day is just in an office, administrative, management type of stuff. And so outside of that, if I want to do theater, if I want to do creative pursuits, if I want to create things and sell them, whatever I want to do, that's got to be done on my time outside of my 40 hours a week of work, right? And when I'm done with my day, I'm coming home and I'm taking care of 2 kids and I'm trying to enjoy my time with them. And then I've got 2 weekend days where I'm trying to enjoy my time with my kids. And I don't want to be taking up that time that I have with them with teaching sewing lessons. I would enjoy teaching sewing lessons to some people, but I don't really want to give up my time for that on the side. Working on putting together a products that I could sell at vendor booths or creating an Etsy, that kind of thing. My husband has encouraged me to do that so many times over the years and said, oh, you're so good at this, you could do it. But the reality is to do that in my spare time just feels like a lot because that's my spare time. That's my time for myself. And so part of this is realizing that if I am ever going to do those things I love and commit to them, I really have to change something big. I have to be able to make that what I'm focusing on because I only have limited time outside of my current work hours. And I don't want to have to be torn between splitting it between my children who I love and doing activities that I love for myself and all these other things. So my goal with this is really to finally take what I love doing and find ways to make those work in a way that I can make enough income to support my family. So that's where I am, and what's driven me, I think, is just, as I said, being at a point where my husband has gotten a little more stabilized in what he wants to do. My own kind of leading up to this feeling like, okay, the reality is I haven't been brave enough, and maybe it's time for me to have that challenge. So that's kind of where I am and what's led me to this point. If you're thinking about any of this for yourself, please feel free to comment, share what you're going through. I will never tell you what to do. I do have a background in social work, remember? So I'm not here to tell other people what's right for them or wrong for them. I'm just here to share what I've decided is right for me. And hopefully maybe that conversation can help you. So as I said, feel free to comment, feel free to ask questions. I would be glad to answer them, see where I can help you out in the process. Please subscribe, like, so you can follow my journey, and I will be glad to share with you some of the things that I've been doing, how I've kind of gotten started on this process, and will continue to develop it. The truth is, I don't know really where this is going to go. I've got a lot of different opportunities and thoughts about what I might be doing. So I intend to explore them all. I intend to explore what virtual assisting might look like, or remote jobs. I think ideally, if I could have kind of a steady part-time something that brings in part-time income, then that would give me the freedom to then develop some of my own stuff on the side. That would be great. I also have an opportunity coming up in a couple months to have a vendor booth at an Ironman event locally. My husband is a runner, and he's involved in the activities of the event. And so we've been talking about me doing a booth because they are wanting more vendors, and I think I can provide what they're wanting. So I'm going to be accumulating some supplies and things like that so that I can do kind of a vendor craft booth for that, and see how being a vendor and selling crafts might work for me. I'm going to be applying for maybe graphic design stuff, working on my website, making sure that that's got all of the information about who I am and what I do on there, potentially offering sewing lessons. As I said, I do theater, so I am signing up to do costumes for one of our local shows. Of course, that's not going to be a big amount of money, but that will be good experience and something I can be proud of doing. And so, as I said, I've got a lot of avenues I'm exploring, and I'm going to share them all with you. So I look forward to hearing from you, and I will continue updating on my process, what I am finding as we move forward. Thank you for taking the time to listen and think about, consider the things that I am sharing with you. I look forward to connecting with you, and we'll see you next time.